Good morning. How is everyone this morning? It's a gorgeous day where I'm at, and it is a glorious, glorious day, not because only that it's a beautiful day, but it's glorious because I am going to do a job to help someone, actually. And I am so excited because, you know, for the first time in my life, I realized that when you aim something and when you aim at something, and you shoot first and ask questions later, it's actually a strategy that works. So that's that. Secondly, I realized that when you do help other people, things come to you. My mom always has told me that when you give, you receive. And it may not be equal in value, but if you really look at your life and how much you gave, you'll find that you always found what you needed. Anyways, I'm starting to learn that later on in my later years. But that's neither here or there. Today, the thoughts are just rolling in. And it's funny because I was talking to someone about NCP players, or NCP, like non-character players. And allegedly, and I can't confirm this, obviously, there is research to state or prove that there are actually people that don't have thoughts. Like, legit, like don't have thoughts. I don't know how that happens because I guess I have the privilege to still, I guess, use my mind, and things are running through my mind. I'm thinking things, and I just can't imagine not having thoughts, not having things to think through, not having subjects in your head that are rolling around and you're trying to figure things out yourself. I think we're at an age right now that is a very dangerous place for us because we've been promised to be led by experts. And I will tell you that we are, I think, at that time now where most people only believe, oops, I think I just ripped my jacket, only believe what experts are saying. So for example, I had a situation where I knew something was the right way of doing something. It's been done for thousands of years that way, and there's enough documentation to prove that it is what it is. But because Google had a different explanation, and because the experts on Google that Google would bring to the forefront of this person's research, they did something what I feel was detrimental to their child. And because the experts said so, they did not listen to people that actually lived through what they were dealing with and knew how to deal with it effectively and historically even. Anyway, so I've been thinking about this society that we're in and why are we here? Like, I don't know if you're feeling it. I'm not sure how many people are feeling it, but we're in a very heavy time. We are in a time where people are displeased with life and they don't really know why. A lot of sadness it's kind of infectious sadness, and nobody really kind of knows why they're feeling so sad, depressed, anxious. And I've been thinking about that a lot because, as you know, I've been really trying to go inwards, and instead of looking outwards the last several years, my goal has been to go as deep as I'm able, because going in requires you to be very brutally honest. And honesty is not something that it's not really something that's pushed. It's not like, the transgender agenda is pushed, the other agendas are pushed. And when something is pushed, you can see the push, right? Whereas when something is being completely buried, you feel that because you literally have to dig for that information. So we're in a time right now where, as I've started reflecting on what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, why I'm even doing it, I've come to the realization that I think the reason why we're so severely unhappy is because we blame others for our misfortunes, our shortcomings, our mistakes. Anything that we do, I find in this society, we don't take ownership. We don't want to take ownership. We want to find fault, but as long as it's not our fault. And I think that's where we're going wrong. The me society is now coming to a point where it's at a breaking point. It's at that point where it's proving that a me society, putting yourself first, choosing yourself, loving yourself, all of those me tactics are literally now disassembling. I have not experienced the amount of dread people are feeling, anxiety, depression, the amount of people that I know that are on medications that are mood altering because they cannot regulate themselves is astounding. And after thinking about it for several weeks, I think really me first is making us sick. Our souls are feeling it. And let me share a story with you about souls. I believe, or even it's not much of, it's not sorry. It's I believe, but I believe because of things that I've witnessed. So things that I've witnessed are the reason why I believe this. I believe that our souls know, if you're able to listen to your soul, which is the hardest part because we're so distracted, everything is so loud, everything is so fast moving, everything is just everything at once. It's really hard to listen to your soul because there's no peace. There's no time where you're down from the high peaks of this a drug or this excitement or this adventure or whatever the distraction name is. We don't have time to sit still and listen to what's being said to us. For example, a lot of people don't follow their gut anymore because they don't know what that feels like anymore. They can't hear their gut. So the story, when my cousin, who was my sister, she lived with me for 20 years, and when she got sick, she toiled in the sickness and suffered for 4 years. The experts told her that she would live 4 years without chemo or 10 years with chemo. Of course, they were treating her for the wrong cancer in the first place. So she didn't make it past 4 years. But 6 months before she died, something happened in our family. Her and I had such deep discussions about how we felt, about each other, about our family, about our life in general and how we've lived it so far. She told me things that I had never heard. And I also shared with her all the things that I wanted to say to her, even though I knew I had 6 more years. I'm sorry. I still have a hard time remembering this. But it's joy. It's joy. It's joy. Because within 6 months of her death, where we had no warning that she was just going to turn and die in 9 days, 6 months leading up to her actual death, we had said everything. We had said everything that we needed to say to one another. So there was nothing, in my view, left that was not said. We talked about hard things. We talked about the past. We talked about the future. We talked about what life might be without her. And we got it all out. And then she got sick. And within 9 days, she was gone. And what I witnessed in that 9 days is twofold. We had nothing more that we had to say to each other because we shared it all. We told each other how much we loved each other, that she would wait for us. And that all happened without us knowing that we had no time left. We thought we had 6 more years. And while she was dying, her final 9 days, she talked about so many people that were on the other side, as if she saw them. She was in between worlds, and she could see things we could not. And she said things that were profound. And she had no idea she was dying, because this isn't maybe something anyone would do, but I did. I pretended that she was on recovery, and I lied to her, and I told her that she was recovering. She did not know she was in palliative care at home. She just thought that we had brought her home from the hospital and she was going to be fine, that it was going to take several weeks. I didn't want her to worry that she was dying. I didn't want her to have that burden. But you know what? She knew. Even though her body did not. I am telling you that our souls know things that we don't know until we know. We're always the last ones to know. And when I look at our world right now, we are so deaf. We are so deaf to the spirit that runs us. We are so deaf. We push down the wisdom of our soul. And that's, I think, why we are in the place that we are. So, I guess, for me, I think the only medicine that will save us, really, is that we start taking ownership of everything. And I mean everything. I'm at my client's house, so I gotta go. But I wanted to share that with you because I wanted you to know that all the crazy old ladies that we thought were crazy old ladies that prayed to God, that believed in spirit, that believed that you have to be good, you have to put others first. Of course, you have to take care of yourself. That's your responsibility. But putting others is where we grow. Putting others is where we take the focus of ourselves and our troubles and our transgressions by other people, and we focus on others. And when we do that, I believe we become wiser, kinder and closer to our soul's purpose. And I know that this is woo-woo, perhaps to some people, but I am a believer, not because some book told me, not because someone forced me into some sort of cult or religion. I'm not a religious person. I don't really follow the religions, but the teachings of goodness and the wisdom of looking inward is something that is so profound once you start actually doing the work. Because until my cousin got sick, I was me as well, in the sense that God, oh, come on, God, there's so much troubles, there's in the world, so many children are dying. How could God be real? How could God exist? That was my take. That was my ignorant take. And until my cousin got sick, I was lost. I was lost. And her getting sick and subsequently dying allowed me to see straight, I believe, and allowed the space in me to start listening to the map that we all have, that we've all put away in the dashboard somewhere or under the bed. And I hope that you don't have to go through something difficult in order to understand that you are responsible for you, and you are responsible for growing from inside, not looking around and pointing fingers, not looking around and looking for someone to blame. Your parents, your teachers, your aunts and uncles, your grandparents, the system. The system is predatory. The system will always try to make you its slave. But the only way to survive this, I believe, is if we all say no and we look inward. And I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody, because I have heard that so many times, but you don't understand until you do. And that's the truth. You don't understand until you do. And you only understand when you are able to connect to the words that are being said. I'm saying go inwards, and that's easily said, but the actual job of going in and taking ownership for every single thing. Like today, I dropped magazines. They just fell off because I was doing something and the magazines fell off. And you know, I got so annoyed. I'm like, F, it's friggin'. But who moved the shelf? I did. Who wasn't careful to be, not wiggle it so hard? Me. It was me. But I got mad at the magazines. How many times do we do that? That's just a small example, but we do that. Somebody hurts us and we get mad at them. But how were we? Why were we even there? How is it that we found ourselves there? We don't ask, because it's the other person's fault. And that's a coward's way. And I was a coward for most of my life. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not beating on myself. I'm just saying I was born a blank slate. And whatever society puts in me, I have to decide whether or not I'm going to live with that, take it in, use it, or am I going to take it in, contemplate if it's actually good for me, for my family, for my soul. And what does my soul want? You know how difficult it is to figure out what your soul wants? I had no idea my soul and my cousin's soul were saying goodbye. But we were so connected that we were almost oblivious to the fact that we were saying goodbye for the 6 months prior to her death. Because we had such profound conversations that I can't even explain to you. I lived with this woman for 20 years, and we never had such deep and profound conversations about each other, about life, about how we've spent our life, what made us happy, reflection of what we did wrong, how we got here, and how we're going to proceed moving forward. Now, that doesn't happen because, you know. I mean, if I knew that she had 3 months, of course. I had no idea, neither did she. But our souls did. And I'm telling you, our souls know if we would only quiet ourselves and if we would only listen. Well, that's that. 21 minutes in, I'm just outside my door here, and I gotta smarten up. Wish me luck, and like, subscribes, all that blah blah blah. All the begging has to come up. Please come on, help a girl out. I'm putting myself out there. It's not that easy. I know it looks easy when you're watching because I have the same opinion, but let me tell you, it's not easy coming out here and talking to you guys, because everything I say, I think, did I say too much, or did I sound stupid? We're all here to do something. Quiet yourself down and figure out what that purpose is. Because once you figure it out, depression, anxiety, you become like a duck. And that becomes like water, and it runs off you. Because you have a greater purpose. Because you know thyself. Because the more you get to know what your soul wants, the more in line you get in your life. And it doesn't matter if you can't, afford the nice shoes. If you don't live in a great house, it becomes irrelevant. It becomes irrelevant. Like, I don't know how to describe it in any other way, because language is also very limited. It is so very difficult for me to explain to you the honor and the privilege I felt being with my cousin to the very final breath that she took. It's death. You wouldn't think that I would ever have an opinion about death in such a way that it's privilege. I had a privileged moment. God provided me with a moment where I was able literally to take my cousin's hand, not literally, and pass her over to whoever was coming to pick her up. That's what I felt. And there's no English way of explaining that to you, because it looks, woo-woo. It sounds woo-woo. So if you've ever had that kind of experience where you actually feel like you've heard your soul, it would be interesting to know what that looked like for you. And if you felt what you felt, like, did you have an awakening of some sort? Were you able, I don't know, I just feel like I was able to speak to God more freely. I was grateful to God for every moment I got, because I know that our time is limited here. And I feel that her death was my awakening. And it hurt. But I wasn't going to waste it. So, I'm off again. Mwah!